one of the particular situations with this guy ended in me being chased around with a saw, like a saw, which was very intense and left me pretty scarred. Namaste everyone, this is Avanti and I have missed this very much. So I've decided that I'm going to be doing weekly Ask Me Anythings and trying to come up with a name for it. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Some of the things y'all sent in earlier were Avant Talks or Avant Chats or whatever. So whatever it is you want, suggestions in the box below. Without further delay, let's get into the questions y'all sent for this one. Okay. How did you deal with all this hate? So for the last year and a half, you've been getting trolled continuously on the internet, and honestly, I feel that at this point, no matter what video you upload, you do get hate. Moreover, what keeps you motivated to keep on posting? Okay, I have dealt with hate before. You know, when you talk openly about things like sex ed or mental health or just generally these more taboo subjects, people will give you hate. But in the past, it's usually been hate about the thing itself. And when someone hates on talking about periods, for example, it only makes me motivated to talk about it more because I realize the need for education, awareness, and things of that nature. But when people hate for absolutely no reason, or they base it off of a moment of vulnerability and extend that into everything else, which, like you're right, is happening, it's harder because it feels like someone's attacking you personally. So the way that I deal with it is I recognize that there's a huge difference between the person I am and the persona that people see. I try my best to keep it very consistent. I get it, right? If the only thing someone has seen of me is a meme and a reaction video, for example, they're gonna have a certain impression of me, and I have to have grace that they're coming in with that biased impression. Does that make it okay? No. Does that make hate for hate's sake okay? No. I'm open to constructive criticism for sure, but just hating on people, it just shows me a lot more about their insecurities than it does about anything to do with me. In my mind, wish them kindness, because if you're feeling that hurt that you want to spew hate somewhere else, then you must have a lot of shit going on in your life. So, not to my surprise, this is the most asked question. Do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? What is your relationship status? Are you dating? The answer at this current moment is no. I am extremely single. I have been, however, in the dating world for the past several months and have experienced dating in many different forms, which was all very new to me after a 6-year-long committed relationship. I feel like modern dating has all these ships, you know, a situationship, a talkationship, with this ship, with that ship. And when I feel ready to talk about that, I might. Since there's so much interest in this generally, not just in my personal life, but about dating in general, maybe the next Q&A can be about dating questions, relationship questions. So if you have any, share them in the comments below, just like any questions you have about dating, relationships, blah, 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 because I have a lot of new knowledge now in this space. The place I've been expressing a lot of my emotions in this new dating world has been through music. I've been writing a ton of songs because it's been my way of processing. So if you want to find out more about my dating life, just listen to all the upcoming songs and you'll put 2 and 2 together with all the pieces. No, I'm not married. Y'all will know if and when I ever get married. What to do about dark circles? Are there any natural remedies? Dark circles are unfortunately genetic, and a lot of people with melanin or brown skin tend to be more predisposed to dark circles. I definitely have them. Members of my family have them, and I've spoken to dermatologists, and quite frankly, it's just natural. A few things that definitely help, however, are sleeping well, and ideally for 7-8 hours. I've noticed that sometimes when, let's say I have a shoot or something and my eyes are looking particularly dark or puffy, I will use ice and just put a little bit of ice underneath, because what that does is it kind of reduces the puffiness and makes your skin look a little bit brighter. You know, natural remedies, I've tried them and they sometimes work, using potato juice, so squeezing a potato and using that juice and just putting them on your eyes, or cucumbers, basically anything cooling, even aloe vera gel. But different people's skin is sensitive to different things, so I would highly recommend consulting with a doctor. But there's no real way of getting rid of them. I think it's more just learning to accept and love them. And if it's something that you feel really conscious about, of course, concealer exists. But yeah, I mean, I've learned to love them. They're a part of it. And I have noticed that when I'm more tired or when I'm traveling a lot, then they do appear darker or they appear more prominent. So just getting more sleep, more hydration helps. Have you ever felt insecure about your body? Yes, very much so. When I was much younger, when I was in middle school, I just moved to India and unfortunately had a couple bouts of really intense bullying, which I can talk about in a future thing. Maybe we can do like a teen Q&A episode or something. But yeah, I mean, really intense. Like one of the particular situations with this guy ended in me being chased around with a saw, like a saw, which was very intense and left me pretty scarred, and felt really insecure about my body for many, many years. In fact, when I was little, I really liked dancing, and for years I stopped because I was really insecure about my body, about displaying it to the world, how it felt. Kind of sad, I think. I started dancing a little bit again. I mean, it helps me with my performances, stage, just wanting to feel more confident in my body. And it's been nice, but it's definitely going to take me a while to just feel fully confident. I think the way that I've dealt with it is really confronting that, right? All of our bodies come in different shapes and sizes. And rather than focusing on what my body looks like, focusing on what it does for me. What I mean by that is I'm so grateful to be healthy, happy, alive. Like my body can run, it can, process digestion, it is healthy, it allows me to do so many things in life, and I don't want to take that for granted. So I think that perspective shift to, oh my God, my body is amazing and look at all the things it does for me, rather than just the physical appearance helps. Are you planning to visit South Asia other than India anytime soon, such as Nepal, Bangladesh? I would love to visit. I've been to Nepal once, to Kathmandu. Beautiful, beautiful country. I've not been to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, any of these places yet, and I would love to go someday. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. At what age did you start learning music? Very, very young. I grew up doing bhajans and things like that. And then when I moved to India, I started training in Indian classical music. Then I went to a Christian high school, so I learned church and gospel music. Then I did some professional theater from, I think, 16 onwards. So I learned more Broadway styles. So been learning from a very young age. Did you participate in MUN in high school or in college? I did participate in MUN and debates in high school. I really liked it. I think it taught me a lot about getting to know people, networking, and the lobbying thing if you do MUN. I even represented our school at international competitions, so at MIT, Harvard, etc. But I did not do it in college. At that point, I'd started performing professionally, so didn't have as much time, but it's a fun thing for sure. What's your favorite color and food, and what is your age? My favorite colors have to be purple, blue, pink. But generally, I just like the rainbow. I just love colors. My comfort food is clear vegetable soup, and I know that sounds really boring, but it is. And dessert is cheesecake. I'm on a mission to find the world's best cheesecake, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. And what's my age? I am 25 years old. Quarter Life Crisis was the most difficult to write or make. That's a great question. If you don't know, Quarter Life Crisis is the name of my last album. Made it when I turned 25, so hence the name. The most fun song to write was In Between, and I think the hardest song just generally to sing and put out and make was Give Up, just because of what inspired it. Yeah, I still get emotional every time I sing that song. What is your take on a couple splitting up after many years of dating? For whatever reasons, even if one person ends a relationship and they have their reasons, from personal experience and also seeing a lot of friends who've gone through similar situations, sometimes when you meet a person and you start dating, you're both growing kind of at the same pace. And when you're mutually growing, that's amazing. But sometimes your levels of growth are just slightly different. And I don't mean professionally, I mean just personally. Maybe you're just growing in different ways and therefore you grow apart, or the rate at which one person is growing does not match the rate of the other person. And there's many reasons that one might split up. In my opinion, reasons like cheating, abuse, etc. are just complete no-nos and deal breakers. But it can feel like, oh my God, I've put so much time and effort into something and it feels like a sunk cost, like I've already put so much of my life into this, like, why should I end this? But if it's a space in which you're not happy, and if it's a space in which there's enough issues, I think the first step should always be to try to resolve them. But if they're not going to resolve, or if your longer term goals and plans and everything don't align, I think it's sometimes healthier to end things rather than stay in something that's just not right for you, How can you make on-the-spot songs based on anyone's life story? What's the secret behind that? Honestly, it's one of the most fun things for me to do. It definitely takes a lot of practice and skill. A lot of that comes from my theater background, just having been in the music space, songwriting for a long time. You get really used to coming up with quick melodies and quick lyrics. But yeah, I think it's a form of music improv, and because I trained in classical music for so long, you're used to improvising on the spot, and so I think that comes naturally to me. And it honestly just feels like an adrenaline rush every time, and it's beautiful to make someone's story into a song, so I love doing it. When are we getting the Avantribe back alive? I really miss the events. Yeah, we've recruited new moderators for our Discord server, which is called the Avantribe, and we will be starting events again very, very soon. I know I've been AWOL for a little while, for months, including on YouTube with these long form videos, so that's why I'm trying to do at least these once a week, and then maybe something else once a week. But soon I promise. And if you have any suggestions for events you want to see on Discord, please let me know. What's the best advice you've ever gotten, and what is your advice for the youth of this country? The best advice I've ever gotten is that life is a series of choices. And when I was younger, I used to think, oh, that makes no sense because choices are easy. It's like going into a candy store. I want this, I want that. And the older I got, the more I realized that it really is like that. You just have to see it a certain way, meaning it is your choice how to react emotionally in this particular situation. It is your choice whether to study or not. Every given moment, we're always navigating choices, and I think that reframing is the best advice I received, because at any given moment I'm feeling upset about something. I'm upset, but it's my choice as to how I react and how I choose to deal with that situation. And what's my advice for the youth of this country? Jesus, that feels like a lot of pressure. But generally speaking, as a young person, there were a lot of things that I did that people would tell me, you're too young, a woman, you're too much of this, you're too much of that. And it used to really dishearten me when I was younger. And my biggest piece of advice is that don't let anybody tell you that you're too young to do something, you're too XYZ, because you have that power and potential. And while there may be a lot of things not in your control, what is in your control is your intentions, the hard work you put in, and everything else is out of your control. So focus on what you can control, and don't ever let anybody tell you that you are too XYZ to do something, because you are awesome. Maybe let's take one last one. Introvert or extrovert? I mean, I honestly think it's not a binary. I think there is a scale, but if I were to answer, I personally definitely am more extroverted. I get a lot of energy when I see people and meet people, and I know that if I spend too much time alone, I go crazy. Not to say that alone time isn't important, I think it's incredibly important. But something I've been noticing over the last year is I would be in a space with a lot of people or meeting people, and I would feel really energized afterward because I'm like, oh my God, I've met people. And then realizing that actually afterward I felt a little bit weird. And that's because I'm so extroverted that the actual act of meeting people was so fun, but then I realized that there were some people that were probably not so great for me. And I was feeling really just strange, honestly. And so now I think I've been moving through the world with energy, in the sense of how does someone's energy make me feel? Let me see in that moment, and accordingly, pursuing something more or not when it comes to friendships or professional relationships or even dating and relationships, because I realized that's actually really important. And I think last year, with a lot of stuff going on in a lot of areas of my life, I was surrounded by a lot of vampires, and I don't want to do that anymore. Looking forward to the questions for next week. So here's what I would love for you to do. Let's bring back something actually. If you've watched till this point in the video, please comment below rubber band, so I know who's actually the OG and who's watched till here, and so we can confuse everybody else in the comments. But if you can maybe let me know what you think this series should be called, that would be amazing. And please share any questions you have in the comment box below for next week's Q&A. Depending on what a majority of the questions are like, we can frame it accordingly, but I think maybe if we do one on relationships and dating and navigating that for next week, that would be really fun. So please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps. Like when you click the like button, it really helps a signal to YouTube that, hey, more people should see this video. So to sharing, all of these things. So I've missed this and I will see you next week. Also, I'm trying to think doing this at the same time every week. So perhaps every Tuesday. See you next week and lots of love. Bye.
Are you gonna give up and give up and give up something beautiful today? Ooh.